to the workshop. Today we are going to be decorating a canvas tote. This is the brand that I purchased. They're pretty inexpensive from Michaels. So the things you're going to need are your tote, an iron because we want to make sure it's nice and flat and creaseless before we start painting. You don't have to use a stencil, but I do have one. And you're going to need several different sponges. And whatever paint you would like, whatever color paint that, you know, moves your heart and your spirit, those are the colors that you should be using. Step one is to iron. Now we have the perfect base to work with. I got this pattern from Michaels. It says Be Kind, has a honeycomb, it has a bee with some little fly things underneath it. It has some flowers, 3 different kinds of flowers. So I'm gonna start with my left side of the bag, your right side, with the Be Kind. I'm gonna use this teal and of course our lovely little mini. I'm going to use a medium size round sponge to put this on. So let's see, doesn't need a lot. I'm a little nervous because the last few times I used sponges and stencils, it wasn't great, so. It looks cute! Yay, it worked this time. Now we have to clean off our stencil. Now that our Be Kind has dried, we can move on to the next part of our stencil. We're going to move this slightly to the right. I want to work on the flowers that to me look like blueberries. So we're going to use a dark blue and a green. Let's use a circular piece for the actual blueberry because it's already a circle. We want something much, much smaller for the leaves and the stalk. This green is going to be a little difficult to put in. Oh, those are cute too! I like this stencil. Maybe I should start buying stencils instead of making my own. We're going to clean this up and we'll be back for the next part while we let this dry. Our next piece is going to be the honeycomb, and I'm going to start in the top corner. In my head, the way it should work is we're going to use this like red, brown, rusty color, and then once that's dry, I'm going to go over it again with maybe some gold or brown. I'm not sure. And that second time we go around, dry out the sponge mostly, so you just get a little bit of color over that red. I'm going to attempt to lift this and move it over and match it up. Ah, that's the way I like it. I like that. All right, so now we really have to let this dry. We're gonna clean off our stencil, clean off our paint piece, and we'll be ready for the next one. Now we need to place our bee. I would like my bee to be flying into this honeycomb. So I'm going to place him there. We're going to need yellow, black, and then this little whoop fly piece behind it, I'm going to do in a bright green. Should we do like an off-white for the wings? I'm feeling that. I'm going to grab an off-white. We're going to go with a solid white because the cream color I have will blend straight into this. So now we have to pick the right sponges. We need the tiniest one we can for these antenna and another small one for that green. But I would like to start with the yellow so we can get that down and put all the black around it. All right, that's cute. Now we will have to go through and touch up some pieces with a paintbrush just because you can't get it perfect through this tiny little stencil. But that looks really adorable. We're going to clean these off. We're going to touch this up and then we'll come back and place the last of our flowers. I think that the wings need some glitter. So I'm going to find some glitter and we're going to do that. Did I ever find some glitter? I'm going to give the wings another go over in white and then lightly sprinkle and then press in for this. Now we lightly press, give it a second, and then shake it off into a bag. Look at that. Do you see that? Look at that paint. That is exactly why I wore my apron today. I knew there was going to be paint on me somewhere. There it is again. Oh, Lord. All right, now we have our sparkly bee. We got to let that dry really good, and then we're going to come back and put the last of our flowers in. Since the flowers I'm working on are going to be so small, I'm actually going to take a piece of paper and cut it out and tape it around the other designs so I can just use these flowers without worry of it painting any of the other things around it. Now we're going to be using our purple to do the smaller flowers. We're just going to put those everywhere we'd like. That looks great. And I was actually able to only use one of the stencils instead of both, so that turned out perfectly. We're going to go clean off our supplies and we'll be ready for the last flower. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing that we did with the other flower to this last flower to make sure that we don't paint anything we don't want to. So we have our pattern ready. I don't like these flowers as much as the other ones, so I'm only going to put a few in. We're going to be using our yellow for the center and pink for the petals. I think one set of those flowers is just perfect. I absolutely love this. Now we're going to go back and we're going to add just a tiny bit of gold to the honeycomb. So remember that when we're going in with this gold, We are not going in to give full coverage like we did with the rest of it. We want just enough color. I mean, I want you to like pat this out until it's almost unseeable, and then give tiny bits of color. Well, I liked that gold on there so much, I went back around and put some in between the honeycombs. I actually really like that. We have one more thing to do, and I didn't think of it before, but now that the glitter is on here and we use loose glitter, there's nothing keeping it in place really on top. So we're going to add some glossy Mod Podge just to the top of the glitter on the bee's wings. And that is being kind to your future self, so you don't get glitter everywhere. All right, we're going to use so little of this that I'm not even going to... Oh, that's perfect. Just use the top here. And dab it on pretty thick. Okay, so we're going to give that a little bit to dry, and then I'll show you how it all turned out. Here it is. How adorable is that bag? I love that this little gold comes up like almost like a messy cute. I love the purple with the blueberries and just a little bit of pink. I'm going to give a good close-up so you can see the sparkle on that bee. And we are done. Thank you so much for coming along with me. I had a great time today. I hope you had a great time today. And I hope all good things are coming to you. Until next time.